Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Kustoms on the YouTube. Dave here in the garage, Area 51. An old bomb truck, parts holder, storage unit parked over there. Yeah, so we haven't got the air ride system kind of dialed because my, attempt at cheaping out and buying secondhand a secondhand air ride technology system, older unit. I don't even know how old it is, 15, 20 years or something, but yeah, it kind of let us down, so can't go any further ahead on that and get that finished until I get some bits and pieces arrive in the mail. So, and being in New Zealand, not all of it's in country, so I have to order stuff from overseas and it can take a little while. So we have got a few other little bits and pieces to go on with, just to kind of finish up a couple of things. I've got an interior light that I need to install, my Temu catch can, which is actually pretty good, so check that out. But we'll get this interior light dialed first. I bought this little unit a while ago, so I'm gonna figure out how to put that in, because yeah, anyway, let's just get to it. I'll explain it in a sec. Okay, so as I said, got to fit this up there. Now, the reason I'm putting this in, and it's not the original factory one, is because I don't have a complete factory one. I have the body, but I don't have a lens for it. You can probably find one on eBay or something like that, but I did have a look, and yeah, just kind of like cost to get one here. It's not that big a deal. Building a custom car, might as well put something else in there instead. So I've just got to wire this in. I might put a plug on it so it can be taken off, yeah, when we put the headlining and stuff in, and yeah, fit that up. So what do we need to do that? Eyeballs. Can't have a look. Okay, so sitting in the car. This is all stuff that I just wired it in temporarily, like with some random bulb that came out of something. And so we've got to figure out how to mount this up here, kind of neatish. It's already got some holes drilled in it, but I think they're in the wrong kind of place, unfortunately. So yeah, you can see there's like 3 holes already pre-drilled in this thing, but they're not going to hit anything, so I've got to figure out how to mount it. And what I might have to do is maybe fold these tabs down, just get them out of the way to start with, and just basically screw this to the roof. But I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put a little plug on it. Yeah, we should be good. That's not really going to work, is it? Maybe I need a... Any pliers? Okay, so I've got a bit of an idea, so I don't have to drill new holes in this. I might make a little plate. So it's kind of double handling, but I'll make a little plate that I can then screw up there and then screw this to it, if you know what I mean. So I'm just making a template for my little plate. So if I go like that, get that bit of paper. So this. It's a bit off center. I'll square this up, but that's the measurement I want. So I'll go and find a bit of steel or something to make something like that. So I've got a base for it, and then I can screw it up in here, and then I can screw my new light fitting to the plate. Yeah. Okay, got me an offcut. It's already kind of a useful thing. So I want to go at 70. I wonder if I should take that over and tip the, nah, it'll be alright, 75 millimeters. So go off there, draw the line down there, can't remember what this offcut was about. 75 to there. Half 75 is 35, 32 and a half. Roughly, give me a centre. 37 and a half, sorry. 37 and a half, not 32 and a half. This is how I get stuff muddled up. So that's my centre. What's my diameter of that? 110, so we'll go maybe 120. So I need to just going to eyeball it, trace around that, and then I'll extend my line out. So that's me shape, and then it will just get cut off around about there. So I'm going to cut that out, try to. Okay, so I was in the hardware store the other day, yesterday, and I was walking past the clearance bin, and there was this pair of tin snips in there for like $5, so I'll give them a shot. How does that stay on there? This is weird. There's a spring that goes on there. Maybe this is why no one bought them set up for packaging, but there's nothing that actually keeps the spring in its like springy spot. Daft. Oh, well, give them a try. Oh, a little bit too good. Got me. Okay, so that's a rough cut. Now I'm going to go back into the car and just see how much of this I want to keep or remove. Okay, so if you see these bits here, I'm not going to try and flatten those down, so I want to get this thing in between those if I can, if at all possible. So, yeah, pretty much about there. So that'll just give me a little bit on in the four corners to put something on, screw it into this, I think. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I'll go and trim that up and then have a look. Alright, cut those down like so. $5 tin snips. It's just still a little bit long actually, so can I take, how much can I take out of that? Okay, so there's my roughed out kind of piece, and I need to notch these out a bit now, so which happens to be about the width of that ruler, so I'm going to use that as my marker. Can maybe go a little bit on the outside of it, maybe take it there, 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 and there. I just need to basically snip that out. I wonder how the cleanest way to do that would be with tin snips. Don't know. Give it a try. Could just snip it and maybe fold it. Would that work? Would that interfere with anything? Don't know. I'll have a go. up like that. Could get in there with a zip disc, I think, and maybe slice and dice that down a little bit. Might be the way to go. Gimme! Need to bend those up a bit more. Yes, I need to maybe hammer those up a bit, knock them out of the way. But yeah, that should go in there. It's just not laying down properly at the moment because those are still sitting proud. So, but it clears everything that needs to clear. So I've got to dress that up, drill a big hole in the middle, drill holes for my light. That thing. Let's go. What if I need a smaller block? Okay, so if you watched last week's video, this thing was up in the air when we left off the video and I couldn't figure out how to get it down. Well, I hadn't figured out how to get it back down on the ground with the air controller thing not working properly and stuff like that. Fortunately, and unfortunately at the same time, the system all leaks, so it just came down overnight. So it's currently completely aired out again, which is good because I'm going to have to take a whole bunch of that stuff back out, the valve block and all of that wiring, not all of the wiring, a fair bit of the wiring that I put in for the electronic brain part of it. So that's why and how that ended up back down on the ground. But anyway, I'm going to kind of clean up this little thingamajigaboo here and move on with this part of the project. Alright, gonna mark some holes, or mark some marks to make some holes. Just kind of eyeballing it a bit. Might as well mark these as well, I guess, since we're in here. Right about there, I reckon. There, there, and there. It's still the washing machine. Alright, so I've got to drill a bunch of holes in here. Punch it. Pilot hole, 3.5 mil should do us. Got that one from the wires. Drill these ones out a bit bigger. A couple of screws. I'm just going to screw this down onto this little block of wood here, just so if, when I'm drilling this out with a hole saw, if it spins around it doesn't whip the end of my finger off, you know what I'm saying. I can get my Mickey Mouse gloves to pick it up. Just like that. I've just got one of my hole saws and that should be enough, plenty, to get my wiring through. Got got this in the vise, so it shouldn't take much of a drilling. Just like that. Is it? Still the washing machine. Now that's stuck in there. There we go. Homemade washer. Okay, so I remembered I had some of these little stainless button head Allen screws, and I thought since I've used them in lots of other places, I thought maybe I could use them in here to hold it on here, but to get them to screw into my Harry Flash little plate, I need to put some rivsets in there, I reckon, to lock that down. So have I got the right size rivsets or riv nuts, some folk like to call them? Oh, is that one? There's one. Yes. Right, I did see a couple of others in here somewhere. I have the right size. There's two in this bag here. I don't know why they're in multiple different bags, but that's probably something I was farting around with at some point. 4 millimeter. Oh, it went in my gumboot. I know. Yep. It's in my gumboot. Oh, now it's on the floor. Got it. Excuse me. Right, yeah, so they're the right size, so I need to get a drill bit for that. So, 6mm drill bit. I wonder if that's actually... It's actually just under, so I wonder if it's actually a true 1/4 inch. Maybe it should be, I should drill them out at 5.5. Yeah, I'll drill them out at 5.5 millimeters, and that'll, I can just waller it out a little bit if I'm a bit tight on it, you know, on the tolerances. There's a block of wood again. Where is it? Yeah, where'd it go? What did I do with it? Sure, I just put it under there. So I might give this a bit of a sand before I put those rib nuts in, that way I can sand it evenly. Might just use this since it's handy. This air DA, pneumatic DA, I bought a few years ago, and it just leaks so much air out of here that I don't know what this is supposed to do. I thought it was some kind of adjustment for adjusting how much air could, you know, flow through it, speed it up, slow it down, like a variable speed type of thing, but it just leaks so much air out of it that it doesn't actually get much to the DAing stuff, you know. And it's been like that since the day I bought it, so I don't think my compressor has enough storage and whatnot to really run that properly anyway, so I thought it would be handy to have, you know, if you got the compressor all ready to go and stuff like that, that you just kind of, you know, ramp that up and away you go, rather than getting the electric old Ruples one out and untangling the lead, which is like a brittle old piece of wood these days, and you know, just kind of fighting with that. Riv nut gun. I've got it here. It's actually already set up. I must have been using these little ones last time I used this. Okay, I didn't drill this. Must need a 6mm hole, because 5.5 way too snug. So I've just got to open those up. Just quickly. One down. There, little rib nut. Isn't that cute? Little wee ones. Pretty cool, really. use this thing, have you seen on the, I've used it on the bomb truck and used it quite a lot on the old Area 51, so it's quite a handy little tool for, you know, giving yourself options as far as, you know, screwing things like this together. I was just going to use sheet metal screws of some sort, but I wasn't sure if I had any little wee ones, so I remembered I had these button heads left over from doing the grill or something, and so I thought, well, yeah, I'll use them on this. Hopefully they don't interfere with anything up under the, on the where it mounts. So that's that there. I think I need to drill out the holes a little bit to get these through. Yeah, will do. Hopefully I don't chew the holes out. Can only try. That's about right. Do they all line up? Actually, got to get it around the right way. Switch down there. It should all go. It should all line up. That one doesn't look like it wants to line up. Damn. Go out just a little bit more. Oh, I need a 4.5mm drill bit. This is 4, and the 4.5 is the one I lost. A while back, so I just got to see if I can find another 4.5mm just to open those holes up just a tiny scotch more. Okay, welcome back. After a fair amount of like hole wallering, I managed to get all 3 holes to line up. I don't know how I do it. Like, I think I'm trying to be accurate and stuff like that, you know. Like, I laid it over there, marked it, punched it, drilled it, and still 1 out of the 3 holes just didn't quite line up. It was just like 0.5 millimeter out, so tolerance is just too tight, if you know what I mean. And then you make a mistake at that tight a tolerance, get something just slightly off, and nothing wants to bolt up, but it does now. Like I say, with a little bit of wallering, it worked. So now I've got to go and mark holes to drill and screw those up. I actually thought I might just use Tech screws for that. I have got some self-drilling Tech screws in the drawer, little shorty ones, so I was kind of worried about trying to drill pilot holes up through there and, you know, hitting the roof and, you know, making problems for myself on the outside, if you know what I mean. But the little Tech screws might just be the ticket. Get the camera set up. You can look up my nose, so that's got to go that way. I should have my glasses on, but I haven't. So then that's gonna go there, 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 and there. They look about even. Yeah, close enough. Right, screw that up there, like so. Yeah, so that'll go like that. You know what I'm saying? So that'll be alright, and then that'll kind of, this part can kind of help hold that bit of the head lining up, I guess. That makes sense. Yeah, it'll kind of maybe pull it up, and there is that option of putting a spacer of some sort in there if I need to, and longer button heads. But yeah, so next I'll pull that all out again now I know it fits and I'm happy with that. Pull that all out. I'm going to paint that little backing plate, just chuck some wattle each on it. I think that'll be enough, and then I can wire my plugs in that onto it. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so I've got my little backing plate in primer, each primer. next up I'm going to wire a little kind of plug onto this light and onto the wiring from up, you know, comes up through the roof. While that's drying, it's pretty bloody cold at the moment, so I haven't really got anywhere I can put that plate to dry off any better than it is in here. It's like, it's cold, like a bit warmer today. Yesterday morning it was negative 0.3 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was, you know, it was cold. And this morning it was about 3-4 degrees. It's cold. Anyway, so there's one knee cracking. Right, so I've got to wrangle my foot in these things here. I've got this kit of plugs and stuff, so I'm going to use one of these, like a 2-wire plug out of this kit. I think maybe one of those. And at the other end of that, what does that look like? One of those, is that a 2-1? Yeah, 2-1, that's an oxymoron. So I suppose I'll put that in there, maybe, so it can sit up under there, and then this end here can be the on the back of the light. Know what I'm saying? Okay, don't really need these little weatherproof things on this in this situation, but I'm going to use them anyway because they're there. Put these through these little holes, through the wires, through these little holes, so they're like that. Now I've got to figure out which ones go where. These are the pin side, I think, which will be these ones. Pins. I'm going to put this on the light side. I changed my mind because then this will go up through the hole. Probably easier to, you know, do the other one the other way. I don't know, probably not, but it's probably much of a muchness actually. But my wires are 2 different lengths, so I'll probably just shorten up the red wire, get them about the same. Trim them up. Actually, I'm going to get my glasses because I'm going to need them for this. This is micro electrical stuff. Joe 90 back in the house. They might be a little bit long actually. Might just trim that back. It's just scotch. That's where this thing comes into play. Can never remember which way I'm supposed to do it, so I think it's that way. So it just made it go all sideways. Trying to do it all proper like that. Just trim that back a little bit. That way. And you just got to get these in the right way, like something like that. The right way? Yeah, I think so. Goes like that. Just like that. And then we feed our little rubber doodads up into there. Need something to push them in. Just like that. So that's that side done. Now, what I'm not sure on is whether it matters which is positive and which is negative on this being an LED. I know they are sensitive to that, so I might just chuck the battery in and do a little bit of testing. Okay, so my white wire goes to my red wire. White to red. White to red. I keep telling myself that. Alright, so I chuck a couple of the little doodads on there. These little dookickies. need the socket end. Just better double check that I know what I'm doing. Not really. I've disconnected the battery again, so I'm not going to run the risk of electrocuting anything. So now I need to get in there, go, no, wrong way. Right, so squeeze, give it an extra squeeze, and get another one of those. Find something less sharp to nail on. Yeah, that's them on. Now I get this thing. Which way does it go? That way. So I think, oh, now that's where I need to figure out which is right, red and stuff. So that goes like that. Was it white to red? Wrong way. Doing that way. Why won't it stay in there? Hang on. That's weird. Actually, alright. Visibility is not that great. Why is the little locking tabby thing's not working? That one's working now. Better make sure I've got them on the right side. So, white to red. So be black to orange, yeah. Come on. Why is that not staying in there? I've got the orange one in there. That's weird. That's strange. No real locking tab on them, so that's odd. Now it wants to go in there. Oh well, the win's a win. So this little dome light I actually bought from a local marine shop called Burnsco Marine, not sponsored in any way, but they have some quite good kind of little lights and quite a lot of good auto electrical stuff in the marine shop, you know, like cable and switches and lights and all sorts of stuff that you used to be able to buy in the auto parts shops here in New Zealand, like Repco and Supercheap and stuff. Supercheap still carry some of it, Repco not so much, which is a kind of a bit of a pain. But so if you're looking for stuff like that and you're in here in New Zealand, Burnsco Marine is quite good for auto electrical stuff, for wire, butt connectors, all that kind of stuff, and their pricing is not bad compared to some of the automotive stuff. So if anyone from Supercheap or Repco are watching this, up your game. But yeah, so that's where that came from. This little wire kit thing, I just bought that off Temu of all places. Quad bike neighborhood. I buy a few bits and pieces off Temu. I mean, some of it is clear junk, but some of it's actually not bad. I mean, these little kits are okay, I think, for kind of lighter current stuff. I wouldn't put anything high amperage stuff, like, so for like sensors or something where it's only like 5 volts or things like that, I'd probably use stuff like that, or as maximum like 12 volt draw on that sort of stuff. But if you're trying to run anything with any kind of amperage through it, I probably wouldn't use those, because they are pretty fine, if you know what I mean. But I don't know, like, they might be sweet as for, you know, stereos or something like that, I don't know. But yeah, so that's where I got those from. These were Temu as well, I think, and they're quite good, you know. But probably crap if you're a commercial, like doing proper auto electrical work for your you know, your living. You know, but for what I use them for, they're not bad. I just realised I've missed a whole bunch of bolts on the back of that tray. Yeah, I have too. It's supposed to be bolted down at the back. It doesn't really have to be, but I probably should try and get some bolts in there, or at least a couple, just to kind of stop it rattling. So I might do that, put some stuff away while I'm waiting for that paint to dry. It's still nearly there, but so pretty much dry. It's a little bit sort of soft on the underside still, but it's good enough for me. That little cheap battery ratchet, I still haven't charged it since I bought it. Like it's not bad actually. And I was in there yesterday, and they have a selection of other little tools, you know, that take that same battery, and it's like, man, they do like a little battery die grinders and stuff, and it's like, that could be really handy. So when I'm feeling a little bit more flush, I might go and buy some more of their tools and maybe another battery, you know. But so far, that little cheapie from Super Cheap, like after me saying Super Cheap loved your game, that, oh, was it Tool Pro ratchet has been pretty solid so far. Like, you know, if you're using it all day every day, I reckon you'd probably, you know, get your money's worth out of it. And I reckon I'll get my money's worth out of it as long as the batteries hold up, and as long as they keep supporting the parts. So, you know, like if I can get more batteries and stuff. Like the problem with some of this technology is, like my air ride system, is the support only lasts for so long on a lot of things, you know. Like yeah, like I can't get replacement parts for that air ride technology's controller and stuff, you know. So I'm going old school with stuff, and I actually think I'll like it better what I'm gonna do, other than the automatic settings. So, but anyway, I'll get this screwed up on here, and then we'll be done with this interior light. Half a morning on that. Yeah. That way. Hang on, where's my... Yeah, that way. Oh. It's gonna go. Ooh. Uh-oh. Done. That's that. Yeah, boy. Check it out. It works, and it has a switch on it too, so you can just switch it off. It doesn't work in the way that if the door's shut, I don't think that you can switch it on. Try. Nah. So it's just on and off. Like if you don't want the interior light to work on the door, you can just switch it off. It's not like I can switch it on as a map light. You kind of have to crack the door. You could make it work like that, I think. You have to wire it a different way, and I don't know how to do that, but that's essentially all I'll need it for. If I need to read a map, I'll just pull my phone out my pocket and read my map. It's all backlit. I don't need something like that to be able to, on the key sort of thing. Actually, that's a point. Some of them do work off the key, off the I can switch that on and off my light switch. So I can make it work that way. I didn't realise I wired it to work that way, so that's a plus. If you're really desperate, your phone's flat and you need to get an old paper map out of your glove box, you can use the headlight switch, and you just turn it all the way anti-clockwise to the end, and you can switch the interior light on and off. But yeah, so that works. What's next on the agenda for today? Yeah, boy. Right. This, you might have noticed a few weeks ago I deposited that little box down in there. That is another Temu wonder, but this one's actually pretty good. Well, I'll get it out and show you. I was pleasantly surprised at the quality of this piece of kit, especially for the money. Okay, so I was buying some stuff for work, just some grip tape or something like that for machines at work off Temu, and to qualify for free shipping I had to spend 30 New Zealand dollars, and I had spent about 6, and this came up as a suggestion, you know, suggest buy this, get free shipping, and it's like, nah. This was about $35, so I think I spent about $40 all up, stuff for work and this. And this is something I've been pondering on what I'm going to do about it for a while. And this little unit arrived. It's a stainless steel coolant overflow catch can sort of thing. And as long as it holds coolant, it's pretty clean, to be fair. The O-ring falls out all the time, but yeah. bring you in and let you have a closer look. So it has that kind of, you know, that kind of top on it, so it's just basically a friction fit with this O-ring in the lid. So I mean, it's not like a proper, you know, you would normally find on a you know, that kind of radiator style lid, which is fine as long as it holds and whatnot. And that's just to stop it splashing. It's going to breathe out of the upper hose. That one there, the closest one to the top, is basically going to vent it. That's it coming out the bottom there. So this will come from the radiator to that short hose, so any thing, and then that'll vent out that one there. It comes with, I haven't actually opened this bit up, comes with a couple of brackets and some hardware and a couple of hose clamps, and what are they, like, oh, some big, what Jimmy calls it, rivets, pot rivets. Yeah, a couple of nuts and bolts, pot rivets. I won't be using those pot rivets, but yeah, other than that, as long as it doesn't leak down there, I can't see what it's like in there. I might grab a torch and have a look down in there, but it's not really, in my situation, not really a holding tank as such. It's more like if it gets a bit hot and it needs to relieve a little pressure, it won't just dump it on the ground, it'll dump it in here, sort of thing. Whereas in the truck I have a recovery system, so if it pushes fluid out, it pulls it back when it needs it back, sort of more like a modern car, rather than just, you know, back in the day they just had the overflow pipe just pointing at the ground, and you know, if you were getting up there a bit, it would just dump your coolant out and never to be seen again. So we've got to find somewhere to put this. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so you see my radiator there, it's got this outlet, you know, for that pressurizing overflow kind of thing. So that comes out that side. So I just naturally assumed I would be, you know, putting my catch can over here somewhere, but it just, there's not really the right kind of space for it, you know. I did think maybe we could bring it out here somewhere, but the least amount of stuff kind of in front of the radiator, the better, in my opinion. So I have been thinking of coming over this side and mounting it in around here, which makes it a real quick and easy sort of mount, and I can run my hose over to it, if you know what I mean. Got a bit of a plan for that, so I'll bolt those brackets onto this, and then we can see how that's going to land with, you know, positioning and stuff like that. I did kind of ponder this quite long and hard, actually. I was so close to seeing if I could get it to line up with these, but it just, yeah, it would probably be fine as far as, you know, getting air past there. It's not blocking the radiator as such, but I just, you know, I just didn't want this kind of just jammed out the front. I thought I might as well put it over here with the other jugs of stuff, you know. So looks a little bit different being stainless rather than alloy, but where it's going to sit, you know, we're going to have it tucked down there, so it's not going to be that big of a deal, I don't reckon. Still gives me plenty of scope to access it. Does make it kind of easier to get to, you know, things like, you know, my power steering and even my belt and things like that. Just noticed there's some slimy stuff down there. I don't know what that is, but we'll have a look. And yeah, so that's my plan. So set about doing that. Okay, if anyone's interested, that's what's on the outside of the box. There's a bit of information: batch number, manufacturing, address, model. So you could screenshot that and Google that sort of stuff. The only problem with Temu is sometimes, you know, a seller has something for a little bit and then it's gone. So there's probably not a lot of point in me putting a link in the description to that particular product, because it probably won't be there forever. But if you do look up the manufacturer side of things, you're probably going to have better luck with that, if you know what I mean. But anywho, I need to figure out what size nuts and bolts I need. Probably 10mm. These look like 6mm. Look like metric. A lot of the Chinese stuff's metric, I guess. So I've got to figure out which way around I want these brackets to go. We might go back over to the car and have a look, and I can bolt them on. There's a thing. There's a thing. It's going to interfere with my thing. Would I be... if I went that way, would that work? No, it's going to hit down the bottom. I need to get over there. Yes, well... okay, so spanner in the works immediately. I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll just bolt that on there and bolt that on there and that'll be just tickety-boo. But if I bolt that on there, the bolts are going to then interfere with this return on there. Other than that, it would have been mint. It'd be even better if it was like that. Damn. So now, do I try to make some new bracketry and have misaligned holes and all that kind of stuff? Even if I was to weld that onto that, am I going to be able to get toolage in there to do up said nuts and bolts and stuff? It would be nice if it was tucked like that. How could I wrangle that? Grouse if that just had a little extra tab on there and I could just bolt it through there. It would be awesome. But it's not to be. So I need to come up with a new plan. Once again, I've foiled. No, you know, nothing wrong with the kit, but just how I want to mount it. I kind of really want it, these L brackets, to be probably about half an inch longer on the long side. So I have a look through my scrap drawer and see what I can see. I have a piece of angled aluminium, which could be quite good. The only thing is it's got a real sharp corner, so I'd have to round off that corner to get it to flow into that core support. Like this one conveniently actually landed in there really nice. If I take too much of that corner off, will weaken the integrity of the aluminium. Also means I don't really have to paint it, I can just Scotch-Brite it. Yes. Oh, I think we might go down this route, give it a try anyway. So I want about, yeah, I've got to do a little bit of measuring, get some stuff. As we determined earlier, that needs to be about there. So if I get my measuring stick and come to, so on about sort of 30 all up, so I'll mark that and we can cut that down, and then we need to determine that side of it. So that'll be about 15. I'll make it 15, and then I'm going to round that sharpness out of that. So to the inside will be 27. I'm using a pencil for this rather than a Sharpie. I'm just going to try and get a little bit more accurate. I haven't got a scribe, like a metal scribe. I really should get one. Sometimes it'd be really handy. And what did we decide for the other side? It was going to be what, 15 millimeters, that is, which is just over half an inch for the Imperial speakers. I should drill the holes first before I cut it. Probably not a bad idea. Basically I'm just going to be cutting this in half and then tidying it up. So I'm going to cut there, and I'll just make a little. So I'll use this as a template. Can go. Put my eyes on. I can see what I'm doing. Oh, there it is. That'll be my two bigger holes. I probably won't elongate it because I'll just butcher it if I try that. And I suppose I can use this like that, and then I'll put cross marks on there as well, I think. Like so. So I can put my centre punch on there. Alright, go and get me spring punch. It's actually quite hard to see how centered you are on this. Alright. 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 Yep. Alright, drill a bunch of pilot holes. Get me started. I just walk off my hole. Alright, take all these out to 6mm. 7mm, I think, the big ones. Alright, I think next I might round off that back edge, get it all uniform. That's really the best way to approach that way. So I didn't factor in was the extra thickness of the aluminium and my alignment of my holes down there. So even if I did that, could I get the head of a bolt, like if they were moved further back? Not really ideal actually. Oh well, I'll see if I've got any 2mm mild steel. That might actually be the better way to go, unfortunately. Then it just means I have to paint some stuff, you know. I don't think I've got any stainless offcuts or anything. Yeah, well, let me have a little scavenge around, I'll see what I can find. Okay, so I do have another piece of aluminum. So I could, if I used like these little button heads, move the center quite a bit closer, and that will get me in the center of that little return on that core support. I just have to put riv certs in that in. I don't think I could put nuts on the back, but riv certs would probably be kind of easier for installation. I do have I've got enough nuts and washers for that, so I could nut and bolt it potentially. So okay, so let's start again and stop mucking around. This one is one kind of cleanish cut. Is it the same width? Yeah, pretty much. That's a crooked cut. Alright, I'll have to do some squaring up of this. Yeah, so that's a crooked cut, that one. So I need to do that. Okay, so I'll get this to where that one is back. Okay, so got this to where the other one was. So now, if we have a look, that gets my holes kind of in the center of that return there. So next up, I'm going to cut this down. So to make my two pieces, I might cut the excess off the sides and that first, I guess, and get that done. I'm just going to use a zip disc. I know you can use all sorts of woodworking tools on aluminium. I'll just use a zip disc on this, I reckon. Let's get that done and we'll be back. Alright, so cut this one down. Managed to cut too much off the side of one of these, but it doesn't matter. That can be like tucked away down the bottom, and it's not a big deal. But I just don't know quite how I did that. I must have just followed a line or something that made me decide to cut that line. I don't know. Maybe I need to check my shit more thoroughly, if you know what I'm saying. This is a very old and very blunt file, and I'm using this for that reason, just so it's a bit more of finishing rather than taking too much material off, if you know what I mean. They're not going to be like seamer stuff, they're just going to be tidy-ish stuff by the time I'm finished, hopefully. There's my curved corner light. It's a bit, I wouldn't say it was very cornery. This is where a linisher would be really handy. Just another one of the tools that when the big lotto win comes my way, certain tools will be coming my way. A lift will be one of them, and certain other kind of fabricating sort of stuff will be kind of quite handy. I'll sell out, get away from my budget tools, budget garage. I would sell out in a heartbeat. I see a lot of the big YouTubers, they copped a lot of shit when they kind of had some sort of success with their YouTube channels and started growing their tools and growing their workshops and stuff, and people just wanted to see them wallowing in the mud working with, you know, hand tools and junk stuff forever. But you can't blame a fella for wanting to,
not be rolling around on his back on a cold garage floor. It's much easier to be standing or at least sitting underneath a hoist doing what you got to do, or just having a linisher to go. It was a weird noise that I just made. Alright, let's see how similar we got these two brackets. Obviously one's narrower than the other, but we did kind of get our holes in roughly the same place on both of them. But yeah, I mean, I could trim this one down further, but I'm not going to. Make them exactly the same. It's not that big of a deal. We'll just make sure they're far enough apart and you won't be able to see them. Alright, I've got to do some sanding, get them kind of more sandied up. A little bit more filing. Alright, just going to go over these with a bit of, this is 240, just to kind of take out some of my manufacturing scratches. So we'll be back when I've got these in a more kind of presentable sort of thing. So I'll go over them with some 240, may kind of step down the paper grades a wee bit as I go, just to kind of dress them up a little. Could polish them, but chances are they're going to oxidize and stuff a little bit anyway. It's not that big a deal. Could paint them, but I've loosely bolted those on and my battery's about to die on my camera. So this is how it's going to sit in there. So now I have to figure out how am I going to mark my holes accurately. I can at least mark one, then I can take it all apart and then mark the other. Yeah, it might be right. Or if I've got a little wee Chronograph pencil, we might even be better. But first up, battery. Haven't got a little Chronograph pencil for a change. I usually do. So what I'll do is I'll mark my top one. And then try to eyeball that one. I think that's it, that top mark. So if it comes down there. Now, take these apart, then I can mark the other bottom holes. That should be them. Glasses on. Oh, damn. Didn't really think about that, did I? How am I going to get a drill in there? Problem. Damn it. I don't know where that one went. Still access is a little tricky right here. Ah, you bastard. Can't get square onto it, that's why it's tipping. That one's off center. Damn it. We might be doing some wallering of holes. Okay, so I'm not sure how well the camera showed what I was trying to do there, but I was trying to use a what do you call it, a tech screw and my little torque gun thing to kind of get a pilot for my bottom two holes, because my power steering hoses and that are in the way. to get a drill in there. So the next battle is going to be drilling the 6mm hole for my riv nut, and then the battle after that is actually going to be getting the riv nuts done up in there. The top ones will be fine, and I did manage to get out of control with that one, so that one's now crooked as. So I'm going to see if I can, when I drill it, I've got a little die grinder that just happens to fit a 6mm bit in it, and I'm going to try to drill it with that and try to bring it back over a little bit. So this might not go 100%, but we'll give it a shot anyways. I'm going to come in from a bit of an angle and see if I can pull it back. Oh shit. Damn it, haven't got enough grunt. Ooh, got it through. Ooh, we might be alright. Now I've got to do the next one. Damn, I can't actually get the in there. How am I going to do this? Now that I've gone, I didn't even think of that. Wall it out, whopping great holes in there. I know you can do these with a bolt somehow, but I don't know. I have to touch up the paint down there. I chipped it and gouged it and did all sorts of horrible stuff to it. Hey guys, so update. I got 3 out of the 4 riv certs, riv nuts, whatever you want to call them, in using a bunch of kind of, I don't know if it's still on there, but I made an extension and I welded it and it broke it, and there's my spanner. I just spent the last half an hour thinking I had dropped that spanner in under the radiator and trying to feed this wee magnet thing in there, because I'm struggling, to be fair. Like, I'm struggling to get this last one. I thought I had it, and then it I realized it was loose. So the top 2 here, I kind of tweaked them up with just putting a bit of threaded, what was a bolt through there with a nut on each end sort of thing, and kind of cranked them up, just tighten them up. So I was doing that with this one, and then I stripped one of the nuts. And then now I have actually broken off it's still loose too, pain in the ass. I've broken the nut and bolt and stuff off it, and it's stuck on the other end and I can't get it out. Now that I've found my spanner, I might be able to get it out, so I will try and get it out now that I've found this. Honestly, I thought when it all broke off, I thought I had dropped this. I don't know why, and I thought it had gone down underneath the radiator into the core support, and I just moved my little ratchet thing there, and there she was on the ground all along, and I was getting a little bit upset, to be fair. So, like, not cry upset, but like angry Dave upset. So I'm going to try and get this out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put another riv suit in there, but man, it's taken me probably 2 hours to get these 4 things. I even tried like nuts and bolts and washers, and so there's about 3 washers and a couple of bolts in that core support now as well. Yeah, hopefully they'll bounce out eventually. Anyway, I'll carry on now that I found this and try to get that riv suit out. Okay, so I got them on there. Zip disc came out to relieve that core support of that one rib nut, but managed to get another one in there doing the same kind of technique, nut and bolt on either side, and it just ends up looking a little bit crooked. My holes didn't really line up, so I had to kind of waller out the very bottom hole just to get it to line up and do up, sort of thing. Doesn't surprise me really, considering how I kind of had to drill it and visibility and things like that. You know, it would be nice to not have to have it be a little bit wonky, but it'll be okay, I think. So next up, what I've got to do is trip over my ear lines and stuff. Actually, I'll probably take these over. Just take this mamma jamma back over to the car. I think this part's going to hopefully be all good. Other than get my fat hands in there. I'll just grab a socket. Drop the bolt already. Yeah, yeah, right under the crossmember. Yeah. Come on. Got it. Now I'm tootling on the floor. Oh God, Jesus. Cool, under the crossmember again. Got it. I wonder if I should put this in from the other side, like that. Yeah, that's the way. So that all lands good. So now I just got to sort out my pipe work, which is this mamma jamma here. Know what I'm saying? Whew. Actually, I might put some tools away because I'm not going to need all this crap around so much now. And I've got washers and nuts and bolts and rib nuts and rib nut guns and ratchet guns everywhere. So get rid of some of that stuff, I reckon. And yeah, we'll be back in a little sec. Alright, so now I bought this hose, this one, trying to get a balance between this size and the underside of that catch can, because the underside of the catch can is like considerably kind of thinner, more this size than that size, so I might have to go on there. Oh no, she'll go on there. Yeah, so that will go on there easier than I thought. Now, I'm trying to piece out how to route this. I am wondering if I can route it through there. There we go. We go like that. And then up into there. And just pull it back like that. Right, need a hose clamp. Get that ready. Driver of screws. I want it on a bit further than that to do some lubricating in that. Just get some silicone grease, I think. Same thing when your silicone grease tube is like all split and cracked and that, it's actually a real pain. I should actually just grab another one because they're not that expensive, but you know, I don't like to waste stuff, you know what I'm saying? Probably don't really need a hose clamp, but it won't hurt. And then we've got to figure out how to route it, get it down and up and under. to get to the bottom, the center hose there. The other one, that one there, is just going to be like the drain. So got to tighten that up yet. Obviously that may end up coming out to get these hoses hooked up properly. So I'm wondering, do I just come over and loop back, or can I get down through there? And is there any access down the bottom of the room? Of course now I can't get my hand down in there anymore. What have I got over this side? I've got a little bit of clearance. Could I? There's a trans cooler in the way, unfortunately. Or could I come across and go through that grommet, come down, and then curl back up? I know, I have a little think. See what I can come up with. Okay, so I was going to run it through one of the speed holes in that, but it kind of made it go and kind of look a bit dorky. But there's a decent gap down in the corner of the radiator down here, so it's not tight or bindy or anything like that. So I can bring that up here now, you know, cut that, hook it into my catch can, and I've got a little bit left over for like the overflow that I can just hang down lower somewhere. I can probably drop it out through one of those holes down there by that bumper bolt. Could do. So I might cut this down. I will cut this down, and yeah, then we can attach them onto there and into there, and then we'll be done. Okay, it's in. So yeah, routed through that crossbar down there and then up underneath, and then right down the bottom there you can see the overflow goes out that random hole that was in the chassis there. I think it might have been a previous old cross member hole, like rivet hole, not sure. Let me know if you know. I think it was, I don't know, but the previous owner did have a series 2 or 3 Jag front end mocked up in this as well, so they may have drilled holes for that. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I've put my overflow, God on a tangent, put my overflow out that hole, and my little catch can, there it sits. I think it looks pretty good there. Hopefully it doesn't hit nothing up there. It should be all good. Yeah, Harvey, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. Having trouble with the English today. It's been a long day. Like, honestly, you guys must be getting sick of this, because this is another one of those like little things. I thought I'll do a couple of little jobs and then I'll go and do some work upstairs. Not in the ensuite, that's finished. I'm doing the other bathroom now. So, but I've been down here all day. Basically, I put a interior light in, and I've been fighting these brackets and bolts, these rib nuts, for probably 4 hours at this point. I don't know, 5 hours. What is the time? The time is 4:30, and I have been on this thing. This is taking me so long, like, just to get the holes drilled. Like, if I had pre-planned all this, those holes would have been drilled and it would have just been bolted together and then fixed the alignment issues, because I probably would have drilled the holes in the wrong place, which I ended up doing anyway. And so yeah, but it's in there now. It's sturdy, it's solid, it's strong, and it kind of ties in. The engine bay is not, you know, as we've talked about before, it's not going to be one of those super slick, nothing in there but the motor type engine bays. This is kind of a bit of form and a bit of function, if you know what I mean. So I'm not going out of my way to hide all of these things. They're not the best planned out because of my changes of plans. Like if I was doing this all again, I'd probably approach like these three things in a different way, even the battery in a different way. You know, they're probably, it's all these peripheral things that I'm kind of okay with, but they could have been better, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's it. She's in. She's done. Got an interior light. That's that done. That was just kind of one of those little 5-minute finish off jobs. End up making a plate and all sorts of crap and painting it and whatnot. Pretty happy with how that sits up there. Actually very happy. And it was a fairly straightforward little project. This, on the other hand, due to me already having other crap in the way, made it way more difficult to kind of mount with the tooling that I've got. If I had a 90-degree drill and then little short drill bits and stuff, it would have been a lot easier. And one of those 90-degree rib nut guns maybe. Oh no, that wasn't the issue, it was the lip. Couldn't get the rib nut gun to sit close enough, so I had to make, like I talked about, made all these extensions. I've actually lost all my bits now. I had washers, rocker cover washers, and this like was a riv nut that this bit of threaded, this bolt was welded into, or a bolt like that was welded into. Sample one worked, others didn't, you know. Then that broke and it all kind of went pear-shaped after that. And yeah, then as I talked about, struggling with those rib nuts that I stripped and did all sorts of horrible things to. But yeah, now we're in there. I haven't touched up that paint. I will do that. There's a bunch of other stuff. I've noticed scratches on there. I don't know what I did there, but I've managed to scratch that. I've got chips and stuff out of here and up there from me reassembling things. So I'm not going to touch them up at this point. I'll wait till I've finished scratching everything and then I'll touch it all up at once. Sound like a plan? Cheers. I think so. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it at that for this video. My SD card's nearly full and it's like, man, 2 little jobs and I filled it up, so it's going to be a bit of probably a edit a whole bunch of rubbish out that you guys won't want to watch. And leave a whole bunch of other rubbish in that you probably won't want to watch either, but time will tell. As always, thanks heaps for watching, and subscribe if you haven't done already. The old Area 51's slowly coming together. These little jobs are such punishers, man. Like honestly, some of these little jobs have taken me more time to do than it took to actually paint the car. Like, you know, the glory stuff and even the roof chop, you know, it was probably, I don't know, probably 3 days in the main chop and then about 5 or 6 days in the trunk lid and stuff like that, you know, trying to get it right ish. And then yeah, these little things, proportion of scale of work, these little things, they take the time. They take all the time. But yeah, pretty happy with how it's coming along anyway. But yeah, subscribe, follow along. I'm rambling. Don't forget we're on Instagram, Facebook, right here on the YouTube. This is where it all happens. Instagram and Facebook is just me spamming yous about up and coming videos, and that shit don't get much traction anyway. So yeah, take it easy until next time. Peace. Not sure what we're going to do next week. Hopefully I'll have my air ride parts and I can get that shit finished up. See ya.